Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Moscow for the 22nd India-Russia summit. The visit marks his first visit to Russia since the beginning of Ukraine war in 2022. Prime Minister Modi, who is on a two-day visit to Russia, received a grand red carpet welcome at the Vnukovo International Airport. The Indian Prime Minister was received by Russia's first Deputy Prime Minister. The visit is also Prime Minister's first visit since he returned to power for a third term. Jubilant Indian diaspora and Russian dance groups performed dandiya and danced to Bollywood songs to greet the Prime Minister. The 73-year-old also interacted with a large gathering of Indian community members at the hotel in Moscow. Indian tricolour lit up Moscow's Stankino Tower, the tallest freestanding structure in Europe, as a tribute to Prime Minister Modi's Moscow visit. Later in the evening, the Prime Minister will be hosted by Russian President Vladimir Putin for a private dinner on the outskirts of Moscow. Prime Minister will attend the 22nd Annual India-Russia Summit on Tuesday. The two leaders are expected to discuss regional and global developments of mutual interest. Defense, investment, energy cooperation, education and culture will top the agenda of the bilateral talks. Prime Minister Modi will also talk about the Indians who were, quote, misled into joining the Russian army in its war against Ukraine. He is expected to demand an earliest discharge of these people from the Russian military. Till now, at least 4 Indians have been killed amid the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. According to Indian government sources, solution to Ukraine-Russia cannot be found on the battlefield. Key economic announcements will be made after Modi and Putin hold their bilateral talks on Tuesday. Remember, Moscow remains a key supplier of oil and weapons to India, but Kremlin's isolation from the West and blooming friendship with Beijing has impacted its partnership with New Delhi. In recent years, Western powers have also cultivated ties with India while pressuring it to distance itself from Russia. And for more on this, we are now being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Sidhant Sibol, live in Moscow. Sidhant, what has happened now? Are we still waiting for the Prime Minister to be hosted for this dinner? Are you there?
Well, Eric, it's just around 6 p.m. Local time here in Moscow. In about 1 hour's time, the Prime Minister will be leaving and going to meet the Russian President Vladimir Putin for that private dinner. Now, that will last for approximately 2 hours, and we will see some visuals being released. But this is a private dinner. This is an informal conversation the two leaders will be having. And remember, the Indian Prime Minister will be spending roughly 8 to 9 hours in the 24 hours long visit he will be having here in Moscow, and will be having a meeting 3 times with the Russian president. Now, essentially, the main focus remains the India-Russia Annual Summit. This is the 22nd India-Russia Annual Summit. We do expect key announcements being made, especially in the economic sphere, opening up of new missions in Russia, and also, of course, India strongly raising the matter of the Indians in the Russian army. That has been a concern for New Delhi. But all in all, when it comes to this entire visit, there are many firsts to this visit, including, of course, this is the first visit of the Indian Prime Minister since the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the first bilateral visit of the Prime Minister in his third term as well. But essentially, this is a relationship which is a time-tested relationship, a relationship which has a glorious past, whether it's the Soviet support during the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, or whether it is the last 2 decades where, of course, the Russians have played a key role in terms of the civil nuclear partnership, also the defense partnership, where, of course, the Russians and the Indians have worked together when it comes to BrahMos, whether it is also the focus being on on the multilateral domain. We know at the UNSC, the Russians have supported India's bid to be a member of the UN Security Council. So all in all, an important visit, and in next few hours we will see those first visuals of the Prime Minister and the Russian President meeting here in Moscow.
All right, live in Moscow, that is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibol. Siddhant, thank you. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.